Yeah, we're recording.
You ready?
Yeah, ready.
Hey everybody, it's Eric and
Roy.
And thanks again for checking out another episode here on Hatchet Cast. And today we're going to be talking about our World War III plate carrier breakdown.
Spicy.
Yeah. So guys, we're just going to be breaking down our plate carriers and the different types of kit that we use here in the Barrel and Hatchet community, and just kind of talk about the reasoning and the why behind we have our setups the way that we do. And also some things to think about when you're getting a plate carrier, and also I think the seriousness of getting armor that is actually rated for what you need it to be doing. So before we get started, make sure you guys go hit the like and subscribe button. It really does help out the channel, as well as the notification bell, so that way you're notified on any new episodes that drop. But let's go ahead and get started.
Cool.
So
You want to dive into yours? Or
Yeah,
I mean,
sure.
Yours probably gets the most amount of questions.
Yeah, so I think the biggest one that I run the Cry Precision AVS, and for the longest time, a lot of folks have a lot of questions about the AVS specifically, probably because of some of the clout. So it's just an issue for special operations forces here in the States, which is mostly, honestly, I think the biggest reason why it gets a lot of attention. But I am running the Crye AVS. Roy also has an AVS that he's using, and it stands for the Adaptive Vest System. But the Crye AVS is very robust, and one of the things that makes it super robust is its harness system. So what's really cool about the harness system is the fact that it allows to have some structure on the vest itself. So if you actually want to grab that real quick, Roy.
I'll be your Vanna White.
Yeah, perfect. So most of your systems are actually going to have a adaptive vest system that's a harness to help hold up that extra weight. For example, like Roy is actually running a Lunar Concepts plate carrier, and most plate carriers are just two bags that are held on by shoulder straps. The adaptive vest system actually gives some structure around that cummerbund to help alleviate some of that weight by spreading it out evenly over your body.
Yeah, the cummerbund on something like this, or a Spiritus LV119 or something like that, a lot of times doesn't have a lot of support.
Yeah.
It's quick on and off.
Yeah, very quick.
Yeah, very quick on and off.
So with plate carriers, you got to have a very a good balance, and you always have a give and take. Everything, you can't have everything. So if I wanted to be faster and I want to be more mobile, I'll probably go with more of a lighter plate carrier, similar to the Spiritus systems or the Lunar, or like a Cry Precision JPC. If I wanted to go heavier and have a lot more weight on my body or carry more equipment, then a Crye AVS system is a lot more reasonable as far as helping sustain that weight.
A little bit, you can load it a little heavier.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, you can. If it's looking for a heavy carrier, you can pretty much distribute the weight across it a little easier.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a little more comfortable still.
And so one of the things also that I have here, I actually have side plates installed on this. The great thing about this, even with the Crye JPC, is the side plates are very, very easy to put on and take off. So depending on what I'm doing, if we're going to go somewhere that's not very urban, maybe a walk in the woods, I can remove these side plates and actually have a little bit more mobility. The other thing about the Crye AVS is you can completely remove the entire adaptive vest cummerbund system and just run it like a standard plate carrier, with just two plates and a strap. But for me, if I'm gonna run the AVS, I wanna run it with that cummerbund system. And you guys can actually see here on my back, I have it pretty loaded out. I've got pouches, a lot of them mixed between Spiritus systems and Lunar Concept general purpose pouches, just to be able to put different kinds of supplies, water, food, ammo, grenades, stuff like that. And it's mostly for other people to get for me, or that they can use off my back. And so if you have like a small team, you can kind of develop an SOP or a standard operating procedure for how you guys want to load out your carriers. But yeah, and one cool thing about the AVS, and the JPC does not have this, is this zip-on panel system. So the zip-on panel system allows me, like right now we have a Seaburn kit from Mirror Safety. This is the Papper. But if Roy doesn't want to run this, he can zip it off and actually physically remove that panel. And then now all he has to do is, obviously he's got a tie down point right here. So removing this, you know, bungee tie down point, once he removes that, now he completely can run his plate carrier super slick. So a lot more companies are actually coming out with these zip-on panels, which is really nice. And it allows you to be more adaptive as far as like your mission set. So if you want to have a radio back panel, it's just a back panel that has a complete radio kit, or a Mirror Safety, like a Seaburn kit, or a Breacher's kit, or whatever. Like here we get on the Spiritus systems, it has that zipper system. So,
and they sell a complete Molly back panel if you want to do a Molly back panel,
yeah,
which I do have for it. So.
Which is actually really nice because you can customize the back of that. And if you had multiple back panels, it's literally awesome. You could like zip it on, do a different mission set, zip it back on, or zip it off, zip it on. You want to talk real quick about your
yeah?
Your Lunar
So
plate system?
this one was made by Lunar Concepts. I don't believe you can purchase these whatsoever. So I don't think he's ever made them relatively available to the public. I typically keep this one slick, and where I can just outfit it however I choose to do so. So today I actually have a ghost on top of it, but for the most part it stays just like this.
Right.
I carry it around very, very slim line. Sometimes I throw just a 3-cell mag carrier on the front of it.
Yeah.
Sometimes I just have it completely slick and I throw a chest rig over top of it.
Yeah.
So this is usually my slick carrier that I don't outfit with anything for the most part. I may throw, like a little push to talk or something like that on it, but that's about it. A couple of maybe small J Tactical Solutions tourniquet pouches, but I can really outfit it depending on what I'm doing. So I just keep it basic all the time, and then set it up based on what we're working on that day or training. So.
And that's something that like a lot of the lighter plate carriers nowadays have, where they can remove the placard.
Yep.
That's something with the Crye AVS or the JPC, you don't have that luxury. So with the Crye AVS, they have their own proprietary type of flaps, whereas I think AXL Advanced makes a adapter system for the AVS and the JPC. So if you're getting an AVS, unless you get that adapter system to run other company placards similar like to the Ghost, then you have to run what Crye provides. This one is just actually Ghost singular mag pouches that are mollied into a Crye AVS molly flap.
This is the center placard of the Ghost that I have on here, and just with a couple of Swift clips. Velcro back panel.
Yep.
Throw a mat pouch on the back of it, however you want. You can, do a couple of J Tactical Solutions. I've had a dangler on here in the past before. Actually, I've gotten where I do a fanny pack quite often now.
Yeah.
So I kind of dump the dangler. Most of the time, I'm wearing a fanny pack even over top of my battle belt to carry some additional medical or tools that I have with me. But yeah, I mean, the Ghost is relatively very universal. You guys have seen it many times before, but if you guys haven't, you can check out our website. We have a fresh shipment of these coming in probably by the time this video releases in another week or so. We'll have a drop on more Ghosts.
Perfect.
So,
yeah,
that they'll be in. So
nice. Yeah, the definitely something to think about also with your plate carry setup, as Roy kind of talked a little bit about earlier, is your J Tactical Solutions or a tourniquet pouch that's accessible from either side. So I have a pouch on each side so I can index it with either hand. Some guys will put it center line or have one where they can access it with either hand, one or the other. So it's definitely something to think about. Whenever I'm running also push to talks, now Roy has a actual like trucker mic. If you get like a standard push to talk from like Disco 3.2 for your radio systems, I like to have where my buttons are actually facing forward. Some guys will actually take these push to talks and they'll push them inside, so that way the actual button is facing into each other inside the chest. And the reason for that is actually an old JTAC trick, but whenever you had your push-to-talks facing outwards, anytime I shoulder the rifle, it would push the push-to-talk, and I'd be hot micing. So guys hear me shooting on the radio, and I'm not talking, which means I don't want to be pushing that button, so I'm going to face them either forward or have them in. Makes sense. Something else I also run is a lot of guys will run the phones. Those are actually good for like what's called ATACs. So it's like a battle tracking type of tool. We use ATACs in the military to battle track or to talk to aircraft. I just put like a simple map pouch on here, and that allows me to be able to reference my maps that I can print before a mission or before whatever I'm doing, and I can look at that. A lot of tier 1 guys will do it where they have like you know, a high value target. They put all the faces of the people they need to capture or kill. They'll put that inside of their map pouch so they can quick reference it and then slap it back closed. Is something else that's also really cool is I also have a knife and a blade hidden on my body armor. I used to have a blade that was really easy to find, but also if somebody else wanted to get into hand-to-hand combat with me, they could grab that blade and use that against me. So I have mine kind of hidden actually behind my map pouch where I can index that fixed blade and be able to access it with my dominant hand, but it still hides behind some of my other pouches. So it's a little bit more hidden. If you do have a blade on your equipment, making sure that it's somewhere that you know where it's at, but if someone gets into a scrap with you, they can...
A little more difficult to find.
100%, yeah. As far as, talk about your cummerbund here.
Yeah, so this is just a typical normal elastic cummerbund that has some cells on it that you can throw a radio in or throw some additional mags in it. So that's one of the reasons why I actually like to keep this one slick, is I can throw this in the truck if I want to, throw it in my gym bag, and I can keep the front side nice and clean, throw some additional mags right here that I have. It's easy on, easy off. You can get out of it relatively very quick. So running multi-curve Hesco 210s from AT Armor in here. Actually, most of all of my carriers have Hesco 210s multi-curve from AT Armor. So I know you guys are obviously going to ask about plates. You know, vet your companies that you're buying your plates from. Make sure that you're buying, you know, legit stuff, real good stuff. So, but yeah, so the elastic cummerbunds, relatively easy. They're easy to fit. There is no, you know, tying them in. Where here I have some Molly cummerbunds, which allows me. That's why I have the zip panel on the back of this, because it allows me, like what Eric said earlier, I have a few different Molly panels that I can quick on and quick off, add to it, and then I can just also throw some additional pouches on the side or throw some side armor in this one. This would be kind of a little bit more of a heavier carrier a lot of times, how I have it loaded up. But when I want to go real heavy, just like what Eric is, I'm into the AVS. So balance that weight out. So Hesco 210s in here. This actually has soft armor backing it up on the back side. This one here, I'm actually just using yoga mat. So as a backer. So a lot of times guys talk about, like, man, my plates start to kind of dig into me. What can I do to make it just a little bit more comfortable? Because if you're uncomfortable, you're probably not going to wear it. You're going to be immediately out there taking it out there. It's a suck fest. This actually has yoga mat. I just went to like Ross, picked up a big old roll of yoga mat, and we trace it out and copy it and throw it in the back. Do yoga. I definitely don't do yoga. But soft armor is a good backer. Yoga mat is also soft armor. Obviously adds another layer of protection. So if you can afford it, it's within your budget, I would pick that up. But if not, grab some yoga mat.
That's definitely a good point, because like you have to be comfortable. If you are uncomfortable, then you're not thinking about the mission set. You're thinking about, when can I take this off? Why is this rubbing me here? I mean, I've even had where my plate carrier was set up bad in the past, and I'd be like rubbing myself raw and bleeding, you know? So like, you don't find that stuff out unless you go out and you practice doing stuff in kit, walking through the woods. You know, we've been talking to Blue Jean Operator a lot about, you know, MilSim, and actually going to a MilSim style event is a perfect time to be able to actually test out your gear, because you're doing an entire full mission profile over hours, actually days, and you have your carrier on all the time. So if something's in the wrong spot, it'll rub you wrong, and your body will tell you.
You're gonna find it out. Actually, we had a guy in a night vision class the other day that his harnesses, rubbed into his neck, basically cut like a line. Yeah,
he had an X-strap harness, and he was literally bleeding from his neck. Which actually brings up another point. I will always wear like a field top, or if I have a combat shirt, I'll actually pop my collar, just to provide a little bit of comfort, because this type of material is like a canvas style, like a rougher, more durable material. But when it rubs with dirt, like you get dirty, you get dust on you, and that rubs as you're walking around or moving, it does rub you raw. So make sure you have like either some baby powder in your boo-boo kit, or make sure you have some sort of collar. If you don't have a collar, sometimes guys will run like a schmog, like a scarf, to kind of keep that material off of your skin. As far as the side pouches, on my cummerbund, similar to how Roy has his, I'll actually keep that clear. And especially where I have to draw from my holster, if I have to draw from my holster, I don't want to put a pouch directly above my holster, because now I have to maneuver my pistol around the pouch when I draw. So I usually keep that spot clear. I do like to keep med kind of on my back, because hopefully that'll be for somebody else to get. Or if I need to access the medical kit on my own, I can do it from my belt. But I like to keep my IFAK away from the front and allow that kind of a little more room towards the back, so that way it's a good spot to store it. And then also I have like grenade pouches, like a smoke grenade pouch. I have multiple grenade pouches on my back.
Which grenade pouches are great for a lot of things. Right now, you got your sunglasses just sitting inside of it. So, like, you can pretty much shove whatever you want in it.
I like having like pouches that are a little bit more general, where I can fit more things. If I'm not using, like you said, a grenade pouch in there for a smoke grenade, I can throw some sunglasses or a water bottle or something else. So getting pouches that are super like niche for one specific thing kind of gives you less options. Talk real quick about your harness straps, because we have both same.
These are actually from Lunar Concepts right here. Actually, I have a set right here.
I think we have them on almost everything.
We have pretty much on everything. The nice thing about this, is the Velcro is on the top side. I have actually bought shoulder straps before in the past. Hold that.
Got it.
I bought shoulder straps before in the past where the Velcro was on the bottom side, which is all these sharp edges start to dig into you. So Lunar did the Velcro the correct way on the top side, but then the padding, if you can kind of notice here as I zoom in a little bit, this kind of this X stitching in it, this Z style stitching in here, allows this, you can actually see how this is formed to my shoulder.
It's like curved.
You can kind of see how it's curved a little bit, where it's not, it's really, it has shaped itself to my shoulder, to the contours of my shoulder. These things are absolutely fantastic. I know you can pick these up on Wiseman Company's website. They offer multiple different colors, but without that, this is incredibly uncomfortable by itself. That will start to dig in you all day long. These shoulder pads are fantastic, and like this, I've wore this thing so many times now that you can see that these shoulder pads are just perfectly contoured to the shape of my body. So.
I actually, you know, the one thing I don't like about the AVS is the shoulder straps that it comes with are less than ideal. So I also have Lunar Concepts.
So right here we have the standard shoulder straps on the AVS. I actually don't have a set of Lunars on here right at the moment. I need to pick up a new set for them. But that would be the standard harness that we have there.
Ooh, let's talk real quick, specifically kind of going back to the AVS. If you look at the back of this, I remember you can actually kind of see that harness, and we'll actually throw some B-roll up here right now of the harness, but this plate bag actually is floating off of the body. So
it doesn't actually, it's not touching up against your body. You have this barrier between yourself, and like I said, Eric will throw some B-roll in there, but inside here you have this barrier that just kind of allows it to float. Allows for air circulation to kind of come up between you and the plates.
It does allow for a lot more air circulation, like you were saying, and also helps me to have my plates at the correct height. So Roy right now has his plates exactly right underneath it where that, if Todd was here, he'd tell us what that whole thing's.
I just call it high thoracic.
Yeah, the high thoracic. You know, if you feel on your neck, you got that little divot right there. You want to have the top of your plate up against that divot. And then also, if you turn around, you want to have the back plate to be similar, like higher up on my back. So what the AVS will do is it'll actually take, with my front plate at the correct height, it will float my back plate higher, so that way it covers all of my vital organs. Biggest thing, guys, is you want to have a plate that's also sized correctly for you. Back in the military, we used to do, like, guys would be like, give me a small, because they wanted lighter weight. And it's like, guys, you need to make sure that your plate is perfectly sized for your body, so that way it's covering up everything that is a vital organ.
Yeah, one of my buddies is a large, and he continues to buy medium carriers.
Because it's smaller and lighter.
Because it's smaller and lighter.
So, I mean, you got to think, especially now, like, the threat of conflict is everywhere. And you got to ask yourself the real question, like, why are we buying this stuff? One, it's our right. We should be able to own this type of stuff. Two, it's always because we want to be prepared citizens. And if you look now, there's conflicts all over the world, and some pretty big ones, and the threat of new conflicts. So training in your kit and seeing what are some things that I'm seeing in those conflicts, you know, online, and some of the videos that are coming out from that. What are some things that they're wearing that makes sense, that could be something that I could use or adapt to my own plate carrier? So if you are going to run plate carriers, make sure that you constantly train in them.
And I would say layer that training. So if you got a brand new carrier, go out and run it slick how I'm set up right now.
That's true.
Because it's going to change your entire, you know, your dynamic behind a rifle. Your pistol, your draw may be slightly different. You can kind of start to feel where maybe possibly some of the hot spots are. Are my plates riding in the correct spot? Yeah, you know what? I love gear, and I love getting a new piece of gear and just sitting there and just setting it up. I just want to throw everything at it.
I do that every time.
Yeah, correct. I just want to throw everything at it right off the bat. But then I take it out and I put it on, and 5 minutes into it, I'm like, all right, well, this thing sucks. That sucks. This sucks. Go out, run it slick in the beginning. put some reps in, and then come back, then throw your placard on, you know. See if that's riding at the right height even.
Yeah.
So that's another thing. We'll see guys that they'll throw their placard on, and a lot of times they'll have it so low or they'll have it entirely too high where it's difficult to even do reloads, or once again, it's getting in the way of shouldering the rifle or getting the rifle up to your shoulder.
That's some good advice. And I've been a victim of that. I see exposed molly on a new piece of gear and I'm like, gotta stick a pouch there. And so sometimes it's good to kind of go out, walk in it, see what needs to be sized and fitted differently, and then put the pouches that you need in the right spots after you're wearing it as you go along with your training.
Go for a little walk around the neighborhood just in your carrier by yourself. Little run, little jog or something like that.
Little trick also is I will keep a 40-round mag somewhere accessible. This is an old J-Tech trick, but I will keep it inside my cummerbund. I would like to have a single mag with 40 rounds, and I stack it full of tracers. And if tracers are illegal in your state, it's always a good thing to have. Just
you don't have tracers in Florida?
No, I don't. I don't have them. But it is a good way to mark for your team. So starting to think about things that I would need to access right now. Tourniquets I need right now. Magazines obviously right now. If I need to change my radio settings, I want that where I can grab it. And then everything that's not super essential that I can at least get someone like Roy, I'm like, hey man, can you grab me a water? If I have a Camelback, I can suck off that, but if I need additional water or food, I can ask a teammate to get that for me. Or if I have extra grenades, you know, I want to have a couple that I can have easily accessible, but any spares I can throw on the back. So, you know, something else to consider if you're wearing a bunch of pouches on your back is wearing a bag.
Yes.
You know, if you plan on wearing a bag, it's going to be not as conducive for you if you have a bunch of pouches already set.
If you have a 24-hour, 36-hour assault pack or something like that, and you plan on throwing it over top of something like this, if these things are loaded, there's going to be more snag points. It's not going to be quite as comfortable.
Yeah.
So you may think about keeping your back slick.
So back slick, or having pouches that will collapse really easily, and you can throw something on over top.
Right now, these are nice and flat. You can throw your bag over top of it, but if they're fully loaded, Eric would probably either take them off or grab a different carrier.
And I've done that. Yep. So, and that's where also the zip-on molly panel comes into play.
Yeah, it makes it nice so you can kind of have those set up for different scenarios, different situations, different mission sets, depending on what you're doing. So.
And real quick, lastly, I want to talk about your rifle system with a plate carrier. Make sure that you have, whenever you guys get your slings, like this is a Lunar Concepts contour sling, that you don't, you size your sling and also take in consideration body armor. So I've actually been a victim of this. I did this to myself one time where I cut and sized my sling when I was completely slick.
Yep.
And then when I threw my plate carrier on, I didn't have enough sling to let out, and I had already cut it too short. So make sure you guys are sizing your slings.
It's that rush to set your equipment up before you get out to go train it.
Yes.
And
that's something I have fallen victim to multiple times. So through my pain and my mistakes, make sure you size your slings properly.
Yeah. I don't mess with anything anymore until I'm actually out in the field.
Yeah, for real, dude.
Training with it.
Do you have any final thoughts about plate carriers, Roy?
No, I mean, own them. If you don't own one, don't cheap out. You know, listen, you can buy a carrier itself, to hold your plates. You can shop eBay for, Taylor Tactical, London Bridge, stuff like that. There's old carriers that are out there. Probably a little bit more difficult with everything that's going on in the world in the past, 5-6 years to find. But I mean, my first was an old Taylor Tactical.
Tactical Taylor?
Tactical Taylor. Is it Tactical Taylor?
Yeah.
Okay, Tactical Taylor.
Old Taylor Tactical.
Taylor Tactical. I'm sticking with Taylor Tactical.
Yeah, I like that. Sounds good.
It sounds better.
Yeah.
So, but now I have multiple carriers. So own them, buy them. Don't cheap out on your plates.
No, do not.
Don't buy steel.
Yeah, don't buy, like it goes with your helmets.
Yep.
Obviously, if I'm wearing plate carrier, I'm wearing a ballistic helmet, as is Roy. So make sure you get quality armor. Your life is worth it. Like don't skimp out on that insurance that you have for yourself or your loved ones. Just because it's cheap doesn't mean it's effective. So you are worth the money and you're worth the investment in buying quality equipment. And then the other thing is people go like, well, why do I have so many carriers? I'll tell you right now, something that is a great way to preserve your rights is getting equipment and getting more of it. We saw this with, if there's a plethora of something, it's harder to take it away because there's so much of it out there. So, continuing to do your research, get what you need for yourself and your family, but also make sure that you buy quality.
Yeah.
So, well, yeah, another great way to support us. What do we got?
We got our website, so jump on the website, come and train with us. buy some gear, buy some J Tactical Solutions tourniquet patches.
Yeah.
Buy some cat tourniquets on there too.
Oh yeah,
so,
and make sure you get real cat tourniquets. The other thing also is we are doing a subscription thing on YouTube that we're trying to start building up. So if you guys want some more perks for those subscribers that support us in that way, you can definitely look for more information on that. Also check out our Instagram channel, our Spotify for the Hatchet Cast podcast, and also come train with us. We love training with you guys. We just had some awesome classes.
Yeah, we had some great
and
classes.
Met some great
we
people.
were up in Pennsylvania for a night vision class.
That was awesome.
And then turned around a week later back here in Florida for another night vision class.
Yeah.
So, and that was a great class too. So.
They were great. So make sure you guys come out and train with us. We love seeing you guys and training with the Barrel and Hatchet community. Make sure you guys train to be the asset, not the liability, and we'll see you on the next one.